All right. Are we live? What's the deal here? I need some feedback here from the site. Okay. Okay. All right. I think we're good. Um, I may see what the quality is later on, but I think we're actually up on the site. So that's the big thing. If anybody's brave enough to call that number, I would appreciate that so we can test whether that's working. But that's okay if not. Basically, what we are going to do today is work on the HypeCP site. So let me switch over and show the HypeCP site here. So we can go to our window here and switch over. Just bear with me. It's the first time I've done the YouTube live here, so I'm just getting this set up and working correctly. Okay, all right. So the thing to do is to switch over to my code view. All right, so we're going to be doing two things. First thing is building some examples on hypecp.com. That is building some HTMX stuff. But like I said, if any brave soul calls in, I will also be crushing your $1 million idea. What does that mean? That means that you have some idea and you've probably thought about it a lot, and maybe you don't want to share what that is, or maybe you have a dud idea you can share instead, so I can crush that one and you won't feel too bad. But I'm just gonna whatever you got, I will tell you all the things that are wrong with it. And I also have $1 million idea that I will, you know, you guys can crush that too if anybody calls in. Okay. All right. So let's get started on some code here. So this is the site right now. This over here, this HTMX essentials. I'm working on hypecp.com. Basically, it's HTMX examples. And let's see here. So I've already got, and they're sort of organized. If I expand this a little bit, you can see the sidebar here. We've got the HTMX essentials, HX get, HX trigger, HX swap, HX target, and then some essentials examples. And I haven't gotten very far in this, but right now I've been sort of mainly worrying about how to structure the site. So I actually like this essentials setup quite a bit. I think this is like how you actually get started building stuff. So I've got this, you copy this into your site, a little description of what each of these are. These are the working examples so far. So if I click this right here, we've got the server, you can click to get the server time. You can see every time I click, it's updating. These are working examples on the page with HTMX. The purpose of this site is just to have these copy and pastable examples that are already working and functioning well. So I am going to, go back up here. We've got this click a div to load, click to load HTML. So if I click this, oops, this is going down to the page here. That's a copy, so that's not what I want to do. Click to get the server time. Okay, click to load the HTML, setting the target. So click this to update a target. So you can see here, we've got our target. When we click it, we call this HTMX time. We put that into the target. So this is the stuff that's already here. Now, what I want to do is continue this. So right now, that's all the HX get examples. So I want to move on to this HX trigger example here. Okay, so let's try the HX trigger. So we're on HX trigger, so I'm going to expand the code part here and get back to showing a little less here. So refresh this. Okay, so HX trigger, right now I have lazy load HTML with the load trigger. That is kind of not the best place to start, maybe. Starting with HX trigger equals load. I feel like it would be better to start this with an HX click, HX trigger equals click, because that's just like the more common one. So let me see here where we are over in the code. So this is my main page here, and I'll go down to our HX trigger. Okay, HX trigger, this is where we are now. I'll verify this. by doing this and refresh. Yeah, okay, we're in the right place. Good. So what do we need to do? Let's copy this example that we have, and I'm using Laravel and Laravel Blade, which is just a templating language. So I've got these things with slots. So I have my example, and then each one kind of generates this sort of example here. So I just copied this lazy load HTML. I'm just going to change it to the click trigger. Um, and instead of lazy load, I'm going to just say load with the click trigger. Okay. So now hx trigger equals click. So what are we doing? We're just doing an hx get. And instead of you will never see this, I'm going to say click me to load HTML. Okay. And let me save that. And let's just update and see what we're doing here, what we're seeing. Okay. So the example, hx trigger, the first example really should be this, load HTML with a click trigger. So hx, it's going to pull in the hx time, htmx/time. This is just a little snippet of HTML on click. So click me to load HTML. So what's going to happen if you click this? Boom. It replaces it with the server time. So that's fine. Now we're showing the click. So instead of this description, which is what we copied from the load, so let's say, okay, I have a decision to make here, actually. Do I want to write during this live stream? Writing is slow. Coding can be faster, I think. So I may defer and just say, like, click to load HTML description here. Click to load, just put placeholders in for the purposes of this, just so that, like, I have a hard time. Writing is time consuming. So I don't know that it is, worth kind of struggling through writing on a live stream when the purpose is really to build more examples and to build more code. I figure I can do writing on my own time. Okay. So what we're going to do is just do that. Now we have these attributes over here. So each one we need to show an attribute. So I'm just going to copy this slot. We already have a slot for attributes. Copy this down here. So where does that go? Goes right next to the code. So this is just which attributes are getting used. So we're using trigger. And instead of this hx swap equals outer HTML, we are, let's see, I guess we're using get here. Hx get, hx trigger. Equals, and we're going to keep that one. We're going to change this to hx trigger equals click. And what else are we using here? I think that's all we're using. So what's it going to do here? That's just going to update over here. And it shouldn't be bold. I don't think we need the bold here because we are, oh yeah, it's nice. Done. Okay. Okay, so we'll just keep that there and we're going to refresh over here. Okay. All right. So we have this hx trigger equals click. The reason I'm putting this in bold is because that's the primary purpose of this. This example is the hx trigger equals click. Okay. Um, let's see. Put description here. Like I said, we're holding off on the writing. Okay. So that's a simple example, right? You just click to load this. We have hx get, hx trigger. Down here we have hx load. So what other ones do we need here as examples? I think we should do the every, and that's like essentially the polling. So let me just copy. I'll just copy the same one here. And we're going to do it down below this example. And the purpose of this one is we're going to say every 5 seconds. That's our trigger. Every 5 seconds, it's going to load this. So click me to load. Okay, so polling every 5 seconds. Okay. Trigger equals every 5 seconds. Let's refresh that and refresh over here. So now we have load HTML. Okay, it still says with the click trigger. So now we're loading it with the every trigger. And I'm going to put in parentheses, colon, because that's really what it is here. That's what we're doing here. Okay, load HTML with the every trigger. So this, after 5 seconds, should start showing the server time. And then down here in our attributes, oh, it's already putting the attributes there. Is that correct? Or what did I do here? Okay, yeah, hx trigger equals click, hx get every 5 seconds. Okay, all right, I think that is good. So what's next for our attributes? I should probably pull up a list of these. So let me do that here. htmx.org. Um, and this is like, I'm on this all the time here. Um, it's like this docs site is very, very useful here. Okay, so click control key. So you can say like a control, you can like hold a control key. Let's just copy this one. I like this. We're gonna do the same thing. So let's put that with the click so you can include it along with our click here. Okay, so we have our new example. I'm gonna put that in there first. Copy this. We're gonna modify our trigger up here to use this. I highly recommend just going to websites and copying them. That's what this whole website is about, and I will continue to do this. I want you to copy my code, and I intend to copy everybody else's code. Okay, so we're going to do an option click to load some HTML. Oh, okay. Getting a call here. Let's answer this call here. No, okay. All right. Talk. All right, let's see what we got here. Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. How's it going? No, I can hear you, and thank you for call. Do you wait? First of all, do you know where you're calling? I just want to make sure this is an intentional call. Okay. Um, no, no. So this is the. Okay, yeah. I mean, so I just want to be clear so that you're not like disappointed. The purpose of the call is to crush your $1 million idea. So that if you if you yeah, are you okay with that? Like, I don't want to, this is like, some people don't like having their ideas, their ideas, crushed. So, is that, so if you throw one out there, I intend to not be kind to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, all right. Well, now we're talking. So that's what I like to see here. Now hold on a second. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my code here. So I'm actually going to take out this example for now, because it's not working. So I'm going to have to let's see. Maybe I'll just put a note on it so that I can figure out what's going on with it. Okay, so this is my click option here is not working. So I'm going to move on to my next thing. By the way, I'm live coding while we talk, so just so you know, so you're not surprised here. Okay, all right. So why don't you give me an idea here for $1 million idea? Yeah. Yep. Well, okay. Well, okay. I'm okay. So you're getting trashed at this laundry place when you go usually. Oh, okay, okay. So you expect other people to come and get trashed. Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. I think I'm following. I think I'm following. Okay. Is this your $1 million idea? Yeah, I gotcha. Yep. Okay. 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 Well, so this is not. I'm not pitching ideas here. I am just. You give me your idea, and I just tell you why it's not going to work. Right. So. So like your idea is so good that basically just everybody is gonna make $1 million. Like there's no way for me to crush your idea, is what you're getting, is what you're saying. Yep. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. So this is the idea. It's tracking your debt. Okay. 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 All right. So let me see where I can start with this idea. First of all, it just involves everything. You just track everything, including your debt, but also all the phenomena of your life. So how are you? Okay. Okay. So the purpose of it is just to deal with the debt. Okay, you don't want it to track everything in your life, but it has to know about your debt somehow. Like I, don't- I'm almost like, how is this $1 million idea? Who's using this? Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how this makes any money. And then everybody puts no data into it. You're making this too easy for me. This is just preposterous. There is no chance a single person would sign up for this. And it's just the advertising is just a goose getting chased. Well, I'll tell you this right now. Your idea is absolutely terrible. There's no chance that anybody, it doesn't even, there's not even a concept of what it actually does. So, how about this? You figure out what that does, and then, yeah, I can hear you moving the phone around. So you figure out what your app does. Come back to me when you're ready to, have a full idea that I can crush in full. Bye. All right, there we go. That's kind of what I intend to do here when somebody calls in is just be, uh, you know, just be cruel to them. And in this case, that was actually too easy because I don't know what they were talking about. Okay, all right. So let me get back to what I am building here, which is I'm trying to figure out how to do this revealed. So hx trigger equals revealed here. So when they scroll to the right place, I'm going to load the HTML when that div is revealed. And thank you, by the way, to the person who called in, because I do actually appreciate. I was wondering if the phone situation was going to work, and I think that actually worked nicely, assuming that anybody can hear this, which I don't really know because I'm not on the other end here. Okay, so when you load the HTML, it was when the input is changed, but when I'm just going to delete this, I don't need this. Okay, so now does this work? If I refresh, oops, I refresh here. So load the div when it gets revealed. So look at that, server time. So now if I scroll down, so it happens the first time as soon as it's revealed. So if I clear this out, now as I scroll down, oop, it got revealed and there it is. Okay, excellent. So the revealed is working. All right, so what I've been doing is, and I just, it is a little tricky to sort of talk at the same time as building these things, but I've been going to these kind of events here, and I was mixing up these like modifiers because the modifiers are a little different. These are modifiers on existing events. So what I really want is a list of every event, and I feel like that's probably here in the reference. So let's see, events. Let's see. It'll be under like wherever revealed is. So docs here. Um, Triggers. Okay. Mouse. Yeah, like I need, where's my list? Where's my full list of events? I don't know why I'm having a hard time finding this on here. Like we need like mouse enter. Um, Mouse enter. Triggering requests. No, I need more than that though. I need key up. I need mouse enter. I need a list of every event. So what am I missing here? Swapping, synchronization, um, triggers. So let's see. Well, I'll just do those ones, the ones I could find for now. Okay. So we'll copy another example down here. Loads HTML when the mouse goes over. Loads HTML. Oops. Okay. Okay, I need to not do this one. So loads HTML and the mouse goes over it. So we're going to do mouse enter, hx trigger equals mouse enter. Okay, this will be replaced when the mouse goes over it. All right, perfect. So let's test and see if that works here. Okay, load HTML when the mouse goes over it. Boom, there it is. Hx trigger equals mouse enter. Okay, what else do we have here for this? We can do key up. Let's do a key up here. Trigger equals key up. Um, when any key pressed. Okay, load HTML when any key is pressed. Okay. Trigger equals key up. I need to change this to key up. This will be replaced when any key is pressed. Okay. And the description. These descriptions, like I said, I'm going to fill in later. So let's refresh here. Okay, so this is when the mouse goes over it. Now this is when any key is pressed. I'm going to press a key. Oh yeah, I need to do window, right? Window.keyup. All right, let's take a look how we do this. Key up. So key up is when it's on the whole, like key up is on a specific input, but I don't want to do it on a specific input. I want to do it for the page. So let me see how I do that here. My recollection was that it's window.keyup. When a user clicks, let's see, any element can be targeted, let's see, to the window. Let me see how we do the window scope. Okay, so maybe I won't worry about the windows. So maybe I'll do an input first. So we'll change this to an input, and the trigger is going to be key up again. Let's make this a text type input. I guess we don't need this. Okay, so key up. Let's set the target here too. So hx target equals input key up div. We're going to put that right next to it. Div ID equals input key up div. This will get replaced. Okay, let's see how that looks here. Okay, this will get replaced. So if I do a key up in here, yep, there we go. Okay, so that is good. So we've got our load HTML when any key is pressed on an input. On an input. I'll specify that here. Okay. Now let's see. What do we want to do next here? We want to do another one of our triggers. Well, I'm not quite sure where all our list of triggers are. Input text, change delay from load revealed intersect. Maybe there's another page here. I think I will do a quick check here. So Htmx triggers. What I want, I used to have a list of these. Load hx get. Okay, all right. Well, those are clearly the main ones. So I think that will probably be good for now. So let's take a look again just at the whole page here. So let me get rid of some of this. So we have our hx trigger section. We're loading HTML with a click. That works. Click option key is not working. So, and that part of that is that unfortunately it's actually control is what it was set to. And when I right click with control, it like pops up, this secondary window here. So that's probably why that's not working, but let me take a quick look here. Okay, load HTML with the click trigger. So let's see if this, yeah, I don't think, let's change the key here. I think we can do like, actually, I'm not going to do that one right now. I will leave this one for the future. which means I'll just delete it for now. Okay, so we're going to remove the ones that don't work here. Okay, load HTML with the once. So this is the same thing. It's the once is a modifier on the event, right? So you can click it and it's only going to work the first time. So with the other ones, if I click it, it's going to load it multiple times. This once is just a modifier in this. So that's working. That's good. Load HTML on click with once trigger. And actually, this is just the description. So, but only once. Okay, let's take a look at how that looks. Yeah, that's good. Load HTML when the input is changed. So now I change this to 1. Yeah, it's actually working, but it's replacing the correct one, or it's replacing the select here. So that's a common problem here. So I think what I need to do is find my select, and I'm going to change the target here. So if you don't set the target in the select, so that's what's happening here. So let me refresh so we can see what's happening here. We have this load the HTML when the input is changed. So this is our code here, right? When the input is changed, where is it going to load this HTML from Htmx time? It's going to load it in the select, like where the hx get is coming from. That's not what we want. We want to load it somewhere else. So what we need to do is we need to add a target. So I'll add a div here, id equals select target. Okay. And we'll put this div over here, save it. And now we can set our targets to the select target. And we'll save and we'll refresh. Okay, so we have our ID equals select target. We change it, boom, that's updated. Okay, all right, so that is working. That's good. Let's see what our next one was. Next one was revealed. We know that's working because when we get to the right place, it's revealed. And this one is load HTML when the mouse goes over it. Boop, that works as well. That's good. Mouse enter. Let's see if we can get a quick mouse leave here too. So I feel like this is just like a freebie since it's basically exactly the same. Save it. Load HTML. Oh, what did I have? I had the wrong thing. So load HTML when the mouse goes over it. Load HTML when the mouse leaves. Leaves a div. Okay. What is it? Mouse leave? I feel like it's mouse leave. Yeah, it's probably mouse leave. Okay, I need to replace that over here too. Mouse leave. This will be replaced when the mouse leaves the div. Okay. Now let's verify. Mouse leave. Okay. Refresh over here. So I put my mouse over it. Now I leave. Boop. There it goes. Okay. Good. Another example working. Okay, so what's next? Load HTML when the key is pressed on an input. So we do this, and there we go. And it does it every single key up. So it's replacing it every second. So that is working nicely. So what do we have here? We have get, the trigger is key up. We had to do a target because if we don't do a target, then it replaces the input because it uses when it does the automatic, the default is to do a like a full replacement of it of the outer HTML. So we don't want to replace the actual input. We want to keep the input there and then replace the HTML in here, which is what we've done. Okay, lazy load with the load trigger. So this just means as soon as the page loads, this gets triggered. So you're never going to see this HTML right here. Instead, it just immediately replaces with the server time. If we refresh, you can see that tiny little blip. There's that little blip means that it is refreshing right there. But you'll never see this little bit of code. So this code is what's running, and that's it. There's no other code here. There's no other hidden stuff. It's just loading the get when the page loads, and you can see that works right there. So this is a great way to lazy load stuff. Just kind of a really easy win with HTMX. Okay, all right. Loading with every trigger. With the every trigger, let me see. I'm going to say the every trigger, aka polling. So everybody knows what polling is. You load something every 5 seconds. So we can see nothing's happening yet. Boom, there it goes. It's been 5 seconds. Let's wait a few more seconds here. Up to another 5 seconds. Okay, got it. Okay, all right. So let's move on to HX target. So we don't have any examples for target yet, although we have been using target up at the top. But we're just going to take our first example. We'll just copy one of our previous examples and we'll move it down here to actually look at that. We've got some empty slots here. Okay, so put HTML into a target on a click. Okay, so we're going to have a button here. Let's do button. Type equals, I don't even think we need to do type equals button. What if we just do button? Let's see what that does. Okay, so click me, and what's that going to do? That is this. So, okay, we need a little more code than that, actually. We're going to put the code over here. On this, we need to do hx get equals, and we're going to do the same thing, htmx/time. I'm just using the time over and over again because we already have that route set up. And it's going to be, we don't actually need to put the trigger because click is the default. So we're just going to put the target equals time target click. Okay, we're just setting up a special div here. ID equals time target click. And replace this target on click. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Put HTML into a target on a click. Here's the code and click me. Boom, replaces it. Okay, so we've done some versions of this. This is just a straight ID. So into a target with an ID on a click. Okay, so now let's do one that is not an ID. Let's do one that is, let's say, target with a class on a click. Okay, so instead of having an ID, we're just going to say class equals time target click. You know, it's the same name, but that's okay. And we're going to say instead of this, we do dot, right? So everything else should be the same. This is intentional. We want to kind of keep this exactly the same. Okay, so we're over here, we're doing an ID. We already know that one works. Now we're setting the target to a class and we click and it still works. Okay, so this is just as a reminder that like this is using the class-based system. So I mean, like it's using CSS selectors, right? So now I can do other selectors. Let's do the closest. That's a really good one, actually. I've found that I've used that one quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to go in here, put HTML into a target with the closest CSS selector. Okay, closest CSS selector. So we're going to do closest is actually the keyword here. So what it does is it looks above. So we're gonna wrap this. We're gonna put this into let's put this into, I'll just put it into a div, you know, because just whatever. Divs are very common. They make sense. We don't even need anything else. Okay, and I'm going to put this down here. Now watch this. It's going to replace everything, and that's okay. That's what we want it to do. Okay, so let me save it, and we're going to refresh. Okay, so put the HTML into a target with the closest CSS selector. So, oh, it still did closest time target click. That's not right. This should be closest div. So you're using a CSS selector. It's going to look, it's going to go above closest, in terms of like parent. So we're going to find the closest div, which in this case here, and clicking it should replace that div. And it should do an inner swap so that it will replace all this. So the button is actually going to disappear. That's what I expect to happen on this. So I'm going to refresh over here. Okay. Now when I click this, the button should disappear and this should disappear and be replaced by the server time. And it is. Good. Okay. So closest, that is good. Let's do some modifiers on the target. Okay, so modifiers means that we are actually, no, not modifiers. Let's figure out how to do some of the swaps because when you are doing something like this, the default is to replace I think it's to replace the inner HTML, right? So we can just do an example here to see what I'm talking about. So let's copy this example. Actually, no, we'll just start a new example. Okay, so change the default. Let's see, swap data to replace the existing HTML. Okay, so by default, when you do this, it's going to swap the data. It's going to put whatever you pull from the server, it's going to put it in the inner HTML. And usually, actually, I changed this so that the HX swap is the outer HTML. So let's see what I'm talking about here. We're going to use a button and we're going to use a target here. So I'm just going to, so button HX get equals. And let's go to htmx/time. Now we're going to do hx target equals, let's call this swap target. That's good enough for now. Now hx swap equals outer HTML. Okay, so now we need to set up our ID here so that we have a swap target. We got our swap target. Okay. This will be replaced. Save it. Okay, and this should be an ID, our target, and it's replacing the outer HTML, which means it replaces this here. So first, I'm just going to okay, swap data to replace the existing HTML. Let's just verify that that works as expected. This will be replaced. Okay, it is replacing this here. So this target maybe is, let me refresh this here. Did I put this? Oh, I never closed the button. That's why. So that was replacing everything. So I got to close the button. That's why that did not work. Click to replace HTML. Refresh. Okay, now, boom. It replaces it. Now, it has replace the outer HTML, which means that the swap target is also gone. So like this whole thing is just gone. This whole thing here, this bit here doesn't exist. So now the next time you click it, you think, oh, why isn't this working? It's because it's putting it into this target. This part's still working. It's still getting the time, but it doesn't have a swap target anymore. See, so if we get rid of this outer HTML, if I just delete that, okay, and I save and refresh, now, if I click it, still works because we have a target here, but by default, it's doing inner HTML. So it's just replacing this text. So now I can keep doing it. And you'll see that number is increasing because it's still, this div ID swap target still exists. So that I feel like should be spelled out in here. So maybe I should keep both examples running. I kind of like that. So let me copy this and we'll do two here. So the one up here is going to be the inner HTML. Click to replace HTML. This will be replaced. Okay. And we're going to get rid of this. And now we're going to set this one, swap the outer HTML. Okay. Swap data to replace the outer HTML. So this is the inner. It's getting updated each time. And the other one is the outer. It will only work one time because then it's obliterated this swap target ID and it's no longer there. So I can add a note about that, but I'll do that later. Actually, maybe I'll do that now. So because we are using hx swap outer HTML, the swap target no longer exists after it has loaded once. Okay. And let's correct our little typos here. Good. Okay. Let me see here. And let's see, what do we want to do next? So let's do some more of these swaps. Or let's say the swap modifiers. So I'm going to do a little search here for, so reference, inner HTML, hx disable, hx added, indicator, port, find all. Okay, where are my swap modifiers? hx swap. Okay, here we go. Inner HTML, outer HTML, text content. This is interesting. Replace the text content of the target element without parsing the response. Useful. Okay, before begin, after begin. So let's make some of those ones. I think those are very useful ones here. Okay, so what we need to do is set up our next blank example. So let me bring this one down here. This is our next example. We are going to swap data to the before begin. Okay. So click to replace HTML. Click to place the new HTML before the list. Okay, so we need a list. So let's make this into a UL here. And this is going to be a UL also. Swap target list, I'll say. Now, we need our LIs. And we'll just say like item 1. We're going to keep going with that naming format here. Item 2, item 3. Okay. Perfect. Now we need to swap target list. Instead of outer HTML, let's just see what happens with this list. So before begin. And we are going to save that and refresh. Okay, so now where's our list? Click to place the new HTML before the list. Okay, so it actually replaced the list. And because this is a modifier, again, so let's take a look at how these work again. So we need to, before begin, so what is that doing here? I would have thought it would put it right there. So here, let's see what that looks like if it was there. Yeah, so that's how I would expect it to show up. Okay, so why is it not showing up like that? Hx swap equals before begin. Um, Swap target list, item one. So let's see, maybe there's another one that I'm thinking of. After begin, before end, after end, delete. Interesting. Swap target list. Swap before begin. Verify. Yeah, it's replacing it, which is a little odd. It makes me wonder if I am. What am I doing wrong here? Swap equals before begin. So let me see if I do some other ones after end. Just want to do like a sanity check here to see what we got here. Click to place. That's doing the same thing. It makes me think it's actually doing, inner HTML. Yeah, I feel like it is actually. It's just doing inner HTML. So why is it not getting the other ones? Maybe it's supposed to be lowercase. HX, there it is. Yeah, okay. I swear I saw uppercase. No, I did not. Okay, that's just my own because I was looking at the thing. Okay, so before begin, so when you click it, it is putting it. Now watch, it's doing it a bunch of times, right? So when it fetches the HTML, it's pulling it in that before begin. So that is correct. That's what we want. Swap data. So I got to correct all these here. Swap data to the target using before begin. Okay. Click to place the new HTML before the list. All right. So what's the next example? We'll try all those other ones. Okay. So we had before begin. Let's do, what do we got here? After begin. Let's see how that one handles this. After begin, and we're going to save. Okay, so here's after begin. We click it, and what is that doing? Okay, I'm using the same target. So I'll call this one after and after. Okay, and we're going to refresh. Click, click. Oop. After begin. Okay, so I think what this is doing is after begin. Let's see here. Okay, you know what? I'm going to fix this by adding some CSS here, some inline CSS. So style equals border 1 pixel solid red. Okay, so now we're going to be able to see what's really going on here. And we're going to put this into both places. Okay. ID target swap. We need this where? On the UL? Yeah, on the UL. Let's put that on the UL. Now, when we refresh, we can see a visual answer to what's happening here. So click to place the new HTML before the list. So it's actually putting it before the whole list, right? After begin, now we're putting it inside the list. Okay, so let me clarify that in the description here. So click to place the new HTML before the list, and then down here, where instead of saying before the list, we need to say at the top of the list, right? Okay, so let me refresh here. So now we should be a little bit more clear. Click to place the new HTML at the top of the list. And that's what we're doing here. Okay, so that's good. So let me just make that, I'm going to make that red border look a little nicer here. We're going to do doot, and we're going to say padding 5 pixels. And we're going to say, let's just make that a 2 pixel. And does it really need to be red? Probably not. We'll just say gray. Okay, let's see if that looks better. Yeah, click to place the new item before the list. Very clear, right? Uh, Click to put it top of the list. Okay, so what's next? We're going to keep going with this. There's other ways. So these are all just ways you can swap in the data. So let me go and add another one here. Swap the target using, and we're just going to crib it over here. After begin, before end. And for end. Okay, so now it's going to be at the bottom of the list. So this is like really useful for when you're loading new things. Let's say you add a new, you add something to your database, and you want to put what's there in the right place after you've added it. So, where do you want to put it? At the top of the list, the bottom of the list, like that actually, each time you're going to have a different thing. So once again, I need to update the IDs so that we're not using the same ID for all of these because that just messes up our examples. Okay, so now we're swapped the target to the end using before end. So now we're putting it, click to place the new HTML at the bottom of the list, right? So now we'll do the next one is going to be underneath the list. I think that's after end. After end. Once again, we need to change our IDs. Save it. Refresh. Okay. At the bottom of the list, we need to change our new HTML underneath the list. Click, click, click. Perfect. Okay. All right. So that is working. What other ones do we have here? After end, we've done. Delete. Okay. So what do you do if you just want to delete the item? So, let's say you've just, you know, you've modified a record or something like that, and you just want to remove it from the list. So maybe you're moving it from one list to another. So if you want to just delete it, swap data to the target. So delete a targeted item after loading. Okay. So this is like you're pulling it. We're pulling in HTML using Htmx, but it's not doing anything with it. It is actually just deleting the existing thing. So we're just going to delete our list after we pull in the new thing. That is the plan. And deleting it, just means it's removing it from the DOM. So let's refresh. Oops. Delete a target item. Okay, so I gotta change this wording here. Click to delete the list after the the HTML loads. Okay, and we'll refresh. Click to delete the list after the HTML loads. Boom, gone. The list is gone. So we have used hx swap delete. The last one is just none, which like you could probably guess what that does. It just does nothing with the new stuff. So nothing is going to change. So do nothing. So do nothing on the swap. Click to not change the list. Okay, click to not change the list after the HTML loads. We're going to change this to none and this to none. And let's see, where is it? We need to also change our actual code here to none. There's our target. Okay. And let's refresh. Click to delete the list. That's fine. Do nothing on the swap. It is actually working. It's supposed to do nothing. The purpose of that is that you can put a thing in there where maybe you want to replace it, maybe you don't, but you you may want to just do nothing at all. That's a perfectly valid, possibility here. Okay, all right. I think we are good, and we're at about an hour, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up. So yeah. Uh, I hope everything was working as it should have. This is the first time. Thank you for joining. Let me go back to my big screen here. Um, Thank you for joining today. Thank you to the person who called in and chatted. I hope I shot your idea down, your terrible idea. All right. Have a happy Friday. See you guys.